And talk us more about how to cope with stress associated with the school. We have with us Grace Sameve, a child development consultant. Good morning, Grace.
Good morning, Grace.
How are you this morning?
Good. How are you guys
We're
doing?
good. We're good also.
Yes, thank you for joining us in our show. And maybe you can share to us, what are the causes behind the school stress phenomenon?
Well, I find many potential causes that might result in school stress, but the two main causes are related to the schoolwork itself, as well as because we are living in a collectivist culture kind of society, so pressure from parents and society might also cause school stress.
Is it because also the curriculum, like the subjects in schools we have these days in Indonesia, cause them to be stressed, or the scheduling isn't right with them? How is it?
Well, I guess those two factors can influence stress and can cause stress because first of all, we can see that our curriculum are super packed and there are a lot of things that kids need to learn within, I can say, a somewhat limited amount of time and resources.
Okay.
And I think stress, stress can actually be a good thing because if it's just happens occasionally, that it can actually motivate you to perform better. But then if it is excessive and it's influencing the other parts of your life and your development, then stress becomes the problem.
The school stress, on children, can it also experienced by early stage of life?
Well, yes, because stress basically happens when you feel that there is a demand or expectations that are beyond your capacity.
Okay.
And that's when you get really, really stressful. And well, I guess looking at the expectations that we are putting on our kids these days, even on our younger kids, then if they find that those expectations are beyond their limitation and abilities, then of course, that can develop into stress.
Well, the thing, for example, like this, is the pressure coming from at home or from school also when it comes to stress? Because you said kids, they want to expect more, and having good grades, they want to show to their parents and their community. Is that pressure coming from at home or also from school?
Well, I guess definitely from school, there will be expectations of because the school is the one who set up the curriculum and the schedule. And also I can say all schools also have expectation on what they're expecting from their kids, from their students, I mean. But on the other hand, family and home situation also plays a very important role because sometimes parents, they also get really competitive among themselves and they want their kids to be the best and better than other kids. Now that also can influence and lead to stress for kids. So
what are the signs that can tell us that, oh, my child, is having too much pressure at school?
Well, one clue is that if you see any changes in your child, then you might question whether or not your child is having stress.
Okay.
And that sign can be manifested in different forms.
Okay, such as?
Well, it can affect your physical health. Sometimes kids can, suddenly feel a lot of headache or nausea, even stomach pain, and sometimes they also might have sleep problems and nightmares. That's physical. The psychological manifestation that occurs, that often happens, are stuff like negative moods.
Okay, so they get upset easily, moody.
Yes. They become more moody and then they become to show lack of interest in doing anything, even though things that they used to be very excited about. Yeah, that might be one.
So has that happened to your kid or anything? But she has a kid already, right?
Yeah, but he's about 2 and I'm thinking about sending him to school. I mean, sending kids too early to school, will it lead to, school stress too? Well, later in life?
Yeah, does there have any age limit from what age should we be sending our kids to school?
Well, I guess it depends on the goal, the parents' goal and the school's goal on providing education for kids. Because I find that when we should provide an environment that will support the holistic development of a child. And that involves not only the academic side, but also social, physical, and all those kind of aspects. So I guess as long as the school and the parents are providing them the support to foster the right stage of development, then that's okay. But if you are sending them to schools and providing them with stuff that are over or beyond their limit and their abilities, then that will result in school stress.
But the schools, like for example, kids are supposed to have fun, you know, these days. Aren't schools supposed to, you know, to give those kind of fun activities rather than, you know, okay, you have to make good grades, even though that is a good thing, you know, making good grades. But aren't the kids not having fun? I mean, they're supposed to have fun, basically. You know, why are they pressuring it out? Why are they stressed? Why are that?
Well, yeah, that's really true, because actually one of the main tasks of kids are to have fun and to play.
True.
Because they're not going to be kids forever, and they will grow up and, you know, face the reality of life. So I guess that's one thing that we should actually give advice to the schools and even the Ministry of Education, where, you know, you can educate kids, but education doesn't have to be stressful. It can be playful, it can be in fun ways, and I guess instead of just like working towards getting all these kids to get good grades, what we need to teach them is actually to develop the love of learning. Because actually we learn even after we are out of school, right? I mean, even though as adults we always learn, and I think that is more important than just trying to get kids get the best grades.
Okay.
You know, the recent phenomenon that I saw in parents is that they set so many, you know, so packed schedules for the kids, like after school. There are also different kind of courses. Do you think it is positive or negative?
Well, I guess on one hand, they're also trying to, so when we are sending our kids to school, the academics are only focusing on one part of the brain, and the extracurricular activities are basically intended so that both parts of the brain will develop in a balanced way. But I guess, well, that can be a good thing, but we have to remember that instead of just developing the cognitive skills of our kids and the development of the brain, we have to know that our kids are developing like holistically, and that every part of their body, every part of their being is developing, including their motoric abilities, including their spirituality. And we also need to focus on those kind of stuffs. So, yeah.
When the kids are in position, they're being stressed at the moment, how do we make them feel relieved? For example, by taking them on a vacation, or maybe by giving them, you know, a sport, or, you know, do some activities. How do we do that to manage that?
How can we help them?
When you're position where your kids are stressing out the position, how do you, you know, take that stress out from your kids?
Well, I guess we have to allow them to spend time doing other stuff aside from just studying. Yeah, like taking breaks from studying and this kind of stuff. And I think we all, especially as parents, we need to develop this relationship with our kids where we
have to be more sensitive, basically.
Yes, and we also have to teach them. We have to be open to them, so that, because sometimes kids even become more stressful when they don't have anyone to share to. And kids, the older they get, the fewer, the lesser the potential that they want to share with their parents. So I guess as parents, we need to start early and start developing relationship where the kids will know that we love them and see them as who they are and not what they achieve. And so that whenever they have problems, they might want to share with us.
Right.
And because with that, we can also share their burden, right? So, and that way we can also support them in dealing with their stress. And of course, well, if they have problems, like for instance, time management, all those kind of stuff, we also can come in and help in the ways that will help them.
You know, how can we like nurture the talents of our children without being too pushy? Is it pushy is a good thing? I don't know.
Well, on one hand, I guess we have to see and find out our kids' weaknesses and strengths, because every kids are different. Although I know that we, in this country, we have a particular set of curriculum that we have to follow, but on the other hand, we also can't deny the fact that every kids are unique. So I guess we, on one hand, maybe let's don't be pushy, but let's detect and look at our kids' strengths and weaknesses and try to support them to optimize those factors and the development of those factors, so that so that we can help them improve their weaknesses, and we can optimize their strength.
What about sometimes in the cases where we as parents, we want our kids to be more better or a lot better than us, right? For example, we didn't achieve playing the piano, and we want our kids to play the piano. Is that a good
Channel
thing?
our ambition to,
Any kind of instrument or anything. Sometimes where you being as parents, you don't achieve that.
We saw that many times.
Many times, and we want our kids to do as the things that we didn't achieve. Is that a good thing? For example, I'm not saying like being pushy, but at least to hey, I think playing the piano is good for you, or playing in the band is good for you. Is it okay?
Well, I guess...
the psychological...
well, eventually, of course, every parent wants the best for their kids. And I guess it's okay to let them try, because we just never know whether or not they're into those stuff as well or not. But then if it turns out that it's not working for them and it's stressing them out,
so
I think,
don't push them, all right.
Parents should just accept that reality, that their kids are unique and different, and they're good in their own ways.
Yeah.
And we should actually support them to develop those stuff.
So basically, whatever they're good at, we support them.
Yeah.
So, Aline, if your kid is good at playing soccer or football, please support him,
I will. And because of the curriculum so packed of subjects at school, some parents are not thinking about, applying homeschooling for their kids. Would you recommend that?
Yeah. Is that okay?
And what should they take into considerations if they want to avoid school stress and maybe bully at school?
Well, I guess one of the reasons why we go to school is not just about the academics, but of the social issues.
Sure.
Like we go and make friends.
Yes.
Because we are a social being. So sooner or later we will be placed in the society, and we need to interact with other people.
Okay.
And that's one thing that might be missing if you are doing homeschooling at home.
Right.
Because you will only meet your parents
Okay.
and maybe some other adults.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe that's one consideration that you should consider.
Okay.
Because, you can't make your child stay at home forever.
Right.
They will, and one of the reasons that sometimes parents want to homeschool their kids is because of the social pressure that is happening at school, like for instance bullying.
Right.
But then that's actually something that happens even with adults.
Yeah.
Some adults get bullied as well, right? So I guess, homeschooling is an option, but we should really consider before making that decision.
Okay.
Because if that is the reason, if the reason is to avoid social bullying, then
school stress,
we have to realize that we are actually just avoiding ourselves,
right?
And we eventually, sooner or later, need to face that, because we are a social being, and no matter what, we should and we will definitely live in the society.
Well, thank you so much, Grace.
Thank you, Grace,
for joining us today.
Yes, and hopefully there are more kids out there not being stressed, but let's have fun, right?
Yes.
Okay. And coming up next, a significant breakthrough was made for skin cancer.
Details on the story and more next on Daybreak. Stay with us.
Thank you.